Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Greg here again with a final reveal of the Matilda, the TAMIYA Matilda. As you can see, I have done it differently. Sacrilege, I know. I've done it as German captured. I just thought I'd like to do it, so because I've seen a nice picture on the internet, and I thought, why not? So the paint scheme is the same, but just put the German mark, these are the stencil markings, so I thought they really work quite well. You know, it looks like they've been put on with a paintbrush as well, if you know what I mean. It's got that kind of texture to it. So I've added a few little bit of extra bits and pieces to it. As you can see on the rear, I've added a bucket. Obviously every German tank has a bucket. I think a few British ones did as well, but I added that. That was not in the kit. And a bit of tarp at the back for covering the thing over at night time. You got a camouflage to keep it on prying eyes. And if you see on the side there, with the kit, they give you two like lumps of plastic for storage. So I made a bracket there slightly. Let me just bring it in slightly. Let's bring it up to there again. You see I made a bracket there, and I had a couple of jerry cans and a ammunition box, and a couple of German helmet there, obviously hard hat. So I just thought I'd do that something completely different with it. The light hasn't dried yet. I've got the crystal clear in there. It will clear. And there's a sort of silver, muted silver behind the lens, so you should get that nice light thing. And there again, I've done the another German helmet, a bit of a machine gun there for the gunner, I presume. I'm not too sure, whatever it is. Let me just bring him in there again. The figure was the commander figure was from the old TAMIYA Panzerkampfwagen 2. Yeah, it was. Yeah, the old TAMIYA one, and the loader, gunner, radio operator, whatever you want to call him. He was from a TAMIYA tank crew set. But it wasn't in the Africa Corps, so I've just camouflaged, done him up a bit, making him look a bit more like he's in the Africa Corps. He's just sort of relaying information that he's had from his. Let's come back out again. Oh, what's he in? You see, he's just relaying his orders from his commander to wherever. I will be doing a dio at this at some point, but I've got a few dios in mind to do, but I've just been building kits at the moment. Yeah, so the kit itself is a superb little kit. It really is a superb little build. Nothing overcomplicated, just typical TAMIYA, fit perfect. You know, just take your time. The hardest part was probably the masking. You know, as long as you're prepared to take your time with the masking, you'll come up with a good result. You know, I know this blue isn't technically the right colour. It's more of a silver grey apparently, but to me it looks okay to me. You know, I'm not a river counter. I don't, you know, I build it as I see it. I say it's my tank, so. I've quite heavily weathered it. Lots of chips, as you can see. And they said that even on the front, let's bring it in again. This is not a decal lever. It's a bit. Even the Africa Corps badge there is a stencil that came out quite well. It would have been better on a darker colour, and the tracks, they look quite nice. They're just weathered with the, like I said last time, with the dipping wash and a few different pigments, and then just rubbed off with a pencil to sort of give you that sealy look at the top. I don't actually use the kit talkie as well, the string, which came out really well. And if you just spend a bit of time on things, you know, you can make a reasonably good job of things. Slightly weather the skirts, not too overly. You know, it's chips, and there's a few streak marks on there from oil and whatever. It's covered in sand, so that all the sand stuck to it and things like that. I only use the rubber bands. They give you two spare. They give you two types of strap: rubber band or the length, Lincoln length. Well, for what you see, you can only see there, and at the rear, and obviously at the bottom. It's not really worth putting the Lincoln length. The detail, the rubber tracks are just as detailed as the Lincoln length. Really were. So the detail's quite nice. I'm quite pleased with this one. I really am quite pleased. The radio antenna again is the guitar string again, which is my go-to thing now, I reckon. The Pioneer 2 is quite nice clasps over them. There's no PE in this kit at all, not one little bit of PE. Obviously there's no vents or anything to do any PE with, or I thought there might have been a bit of PE for the you know, for the tools and things like that, but what was on there is quite nice. I say the most fiddliest bit, say, was doing the camouflage. Yeah, it just took a few, you know, take your time, mask things off nicely, and you come up with a reasonably good job. And the fuel tank at the back there. Hey. There's with the fuel tank at the back. Obviously there's a bit of fuel spilt, and I've just lightly dusted that with the African desert dust. So just like everything sticks to it, and obviously the bucket's covered in sand and dust and muck. Yeah, so basically it's the, what I did was, obviously when I made the kit I sprayed it black, NATO black as the base coat, and then I give it a highlight coat with the flat white XF2. Is it XF2? Yeah, XF2. And then I masked everything off. Well, no, I didn't actually use the desert yellow. TAMIYA desert yellow, which is, I can never remember these colours. Now where are we gone? The desert yellow. That's deep yellow. Where's the desert yellow? Come on, desert yellow. I can never remember them. Desert yellow, dark yellow, dark yellow. There we are. It's in front of me. With the desert yellow XF59. I'll just put a couple of drops of buff in there as well, just a couple of drops of buff in there, just to slightly, and then I know the blue isn't right, but I'll just follow the end what it said on the instructions, and that was XF23, which is a light blue. And for the green I used the deep green, which is XF26 with 3 drops of XF1 just to darken it slightly. And the colours came out quite nice. And so once that was all once that was all painted and dried, I put the decals on. Well, the decals, I sprayed the stencils on, so there's no need to worry about any silvering or peeling or anything like that. Quite nice. And then after that I dull coated it, left that for a good 12-14 hours, and then I started on the old weathering. First thing I did was I gave it a wash, a filter of a tritonal filter from AK. I let it down slightly so it wasn't as dark, and then once I let that dry I just took all the bits that I didn't like, and then I started doing a lot of pin washing on all the erased features, all that kind of stuff. And once all that was done I started the chipping with a paintbrush, with my own go-to stuff, which is the it's basically Andy's hobby headquarters he does for his tracks. I use off of my chipping. So once I've got that chipped on and all that, and then I use the sponge method as well, just to you know, get them all together so it don't look too stark. So there's all sorts of different scrape sizes and whatever all over the hull, all over the turret. Let me just zoom out again a little bit. Yeah, so obviously you can see where the wear and tear is, all that. So then I left all that to sort of dry, And then I just started using the old pigments, and after that started just sort of into the corners where the where it all accumulate, the desert dust into that. Putting all the recesses in, all the sides of the tanks, in all the gaps where it would all collect, and then just started brushing it, getting it off, most of it off my brush, and almost dry brushing it with a pigment, so just to blend it in with the rest of the tank. And the side skirts, you can see up there again, I've pushed quite a bit of sand up there, coming off the tracks, dropping down off the top of the tracks into there, and just coming down the sides. And there's a few oil marks, rusty oil marks from the running gear among that. It's quite nice and quite effective. And then the tracks again, I just used the dipping, I sprayed them black first, and then the dipping wash. And sorry, I better say again, I should have said this, before I attach the side skirts, I put the tracks together, I give them all the dipping wash and the coated of, I sprayed it NATO black first, and then it gradually built up the dipping wash to a nice colour. And I placed them onto the tank, and then I did the side skirts, and then I started obviously weathering. So the tracks were around before I started weathering. I should really have said that. And towards the end, then I just, used the desert dust again. I packed it into all the into the tracks, and then I ran Joe's metal and powder over the top of a pencil just to give it a little silver hue, and again along all the sides. As you can see, there's a pencil marks along the sides of the skirt there, just a bit of worn metal. And again I did the bottom and with the wheels at the bottom as well. All the you can't really see the wheels that off, but there's a bit of silvering in there as well. I'll add a couple of photos towards the end of it so you can see a few different things I might not be able to pick up on here. So yeah, all in all, I'm very, very happy with it. I would like to build it again this time, but you doing the English version. But, I have other things to do before that, lots of other things. In fact, too many bloody things. I really must stick him in. Yeah, so yeah, all in all, very, very happy. So the next kit will be, he's starting to weather, is the TAMIYA JS3, which is actually, you've seen actually built, and I'm starting to weather on that, which I might do starting today. I shall see. As soon as the weather's nice, I might just go and sit outside for a while first and then start that. But that's another nice looking kit, totally different from this. Obviously it's a more modern compared to this. It's sort of top of the range in 1942. So only a 2-pounder gun in there, so about 40mm. So the Germans didn't have anything that could penetrate the hull of the old Matilda. So you can see how things progressed after that, can't you? The King Tiger, the Tigers and the Panthers and the King Tigers and all the rest of the stuff. They left us way behind. But yeah, very, very nice kit. So glad I got it. So this is a buddy build, say, between me, Steve Mottram and Joe Bentley. And I think today's finished his. I think Joe's nearly, I think he's finished the kit. I think he's just starting to think about the paint job now. So hopefully Steve will put a video up of his eventually, and same with Joe. So it'll be nice to see the different interpretations of the tank again. So I really must get him sitting in there as he should be. Yeah, so very happy indeed. So I'd like to say just thank you very much for tuning in and taking the time out of your day to view this little video, the Matilda Mark V, being German captured, so Mark III, Mark V, but German captured. I don't think I've seen anybody doing this, I'm sure there will have been at some point, but I've never seen one actually being on YouTube, or I may have, I probably just missed it, but just me burbling on now. So I'd like to thank all my subscribers, new and old, again, for the lovely kind comments and you know, encouragement. It's really nice to see. So thank you very much. So this is Greg signing off, and we shall catch you again soon.